Okay, Tyler, thanks for stopping by. I appreciate you. How long are you here on the West Coast, first and foremost?
Got home about 6 days ago from Sudbury, Ontario, where we
Yes.
just shot 7 episodes of the show, and I'm home until February 22nd before I fly to Moncton, New Brunswick.
Moncton, New Brunswick. Here's the thing about being a Canadian TV star, man, is you get to go to the big cities, man. The big cities.
Yeah.
you know?
I've had an opportunity to go to some cities that I probably wouldn't have gone to otherwise.
Right, like Moncton, right?
And Bathurst, New Brunswick. I
Okay.
spent 8 weeks there about 5-6 years ago.
Nice.
The people were lovely. It was very East Coast vibe.
Loved it.
I filmed a basketball movie there.
Hey,
so I was,
what'd you film out there?
It was a movie called The Phantoms for CBC, based on a true story about a van accident where a bunch of students unfortunately passed away. And our story that we told was about the one survivor and his next year and his love for basketball kind of fading because all of his buddies died, right? Like while commuting to a basketball game. So it was sort of like his way of finding his love for the game again and like the community coming together over this devastating incident. So I was in Bathurst for 2 months and the community was so welcoming. I honestly, I'm choking up a little bit just thinking about it because like we filmed in the community where it happened and it was still so fresh and people were still reeling from the devastation, you know? Like
How long ago was it?
I probably would have been maybe 10 years ago now.
Oh.
Yeah, maybe 10, 11 years ago. But we filmed it like 6 years after it happened or 4 or 5 years after it happened.
Yeah, that's not that long when it comes to something like death.
No, exactly. And like, you know, it was a lot of young people who passed away and it was devastating, you know,
Yeah,
like in
man.
a small town, like I grew up in Coquitlam, right? So it was a suburb. But you know, if 10 young people pass away, it's going to affect the entire community.
Absolutely, the entire city, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, let's start there. Oh my gosh. So it's so funny because I joke about the Canadian TV star thing, but it's awesome because like that's actually a thing now. That's actually like it's saying back in the day you used to joke and you'd be like, oh yeah, like he's like a Canadian star. And like now it's like, yeah, you can legitimately like Drake is a Canadian star.
Absolutely.
Justin Bieber
And
is
he's also an international star.
and he's an international star,
Yeah,
right? So it's on
exactly.
that level. It's not like
You
you're
can
in
wave
some
the
small
Canadian
little-
flag now without feeling any sort of embarrassment about it, you know? Because like you say,
Yeah.
people used to say Canadian content, Canadian this, and it was like, well, fuck that.
Yeah.
Like, it's Canadian content, but it's great international content
It's
too.
period.
Period.
On any television screen, on any screen, any phone, anywhere.
Exactly. We're taking over the world, man. Canadians are taking over every
Super killing it.
avenue. Yeah, and people love it right now. I get
Yeah.
tweets all the time. They're like, "Can we come up to Canada? Can we come to Canada?" I was like,
Nice.
I'm not the guy to talk to, you know. Drake's the guy who can get you through the border.
Yeah, for sure. So let's dive all the way back to the start. Was that your trajectory? Like I want to figure out because you have to be some type of crazy as a young person to be like, yeah, I want to go be an actor.
Yeah.
I think that's some different type of crazy.
Yeah.
Run me through that, man. Run me through what was it? Where'd you go? Was it Pine Tree?
Yes.
Right. So Pine. I've been to Pine Tree. Okay, Pine Tree is not a big school. Like
Yeah.
you know, like
Well,
it's
we had 2,000 kids.
well, yeah, but
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
like you go out, you're out there in Coquitlam. You know, you're
It started
kinda like,
before Pine Tree.
Oh, okay.
Yes. You want me to take it all the way
Oh,
back?
well, I'll take it all the way
Yeah,
back.
yeah. So-
Acting started before Pine Tree?
Mhm.
Oh my gosh.
So my sister and I, her name's Kelsey. She's now a nurse at Women's Hospital there on Oak Street. But her and I used to take acting classes when we were like, she's 2 years younger than me. So like 11, 13, 12, 14. We would take the SkyTrain from Coquitlam. We'd SkyTrain to downtown. We'd take these acting classes with a woman named Tarlington, Carol Tarlington. So it was a
Okay.
Tarlington training and she specialized in, you know, getting young people familiar with auditions and how to behave on set and getting all of your, you know, professional habits in
Right.
check, right? Because like you walk into an audition room, if you don't know what you're doing, you're just gonna drown in there.
They're going to eat you.
So my sister and I started taking acting classes when we were quite young, and my mom always said, you know, if it becomes a career, great. If it doesn't, you develop people skills. You learn how to speak in public.
Win-win.
You know, you could do. You could do presentations at your job, and you know, it gave us some confidence speaking in public. So I took classes there for a little while. I got my first job on like a Doritos commercial when I
Nice.
was like 14, 15.
Right.
I was-
You look like a Doritos kid, man. Munching
yeah,
on those.
super cheesy. And I was running through like a green screen. There was like a dinosaur chasing me or something. It was pretty wild.
Oh, sick.
But my first like speaking role was on Romeo. So Little Romeo's Nickelodeon show.
Nice.
I got a guest star on that, so I got to meet Little Romeo, and
Nice.
his watch was like as big as my freaking torso. You know, it was just like this huge watch on his wrist. But got that when I was like 17, and did a couple roles after that, like on the L Word. Did bit roles like Teenager Number 2, and
Right.
Party boy number 4 and
Right.
like all these.
Can I
like,
get a latte, please? And that's your only line.
exactly.
Type thing.
And it was like such an exciting time, you know, looking back on it now, like that's, I don't know, like almost 16 years ago, right? 15, 16 years ago, looking back on it and just the excitement that came with that. And then when I was 18 years old, I booked a movie called Decoys 2.
Okay.
And it took me to Edmonton. I was 18 years old, fresh out of high school, was filming a horror movie and having the time of my life. And then while I was there, I got a phone call that I had actually booked a television show filming in Lille, France. So I went to France for half a year. So I got right out of high school, straight to work. Went to Edmonton for a month, and then I went to France for half a year.
You didn't even think about college, university?
I actually applied to Capilano.
Oh, really?
For their film department, but
Yeah.
the job kind of came up shortly after, and it was like I could go to school and study.
Spend money, make money.
Yeah, and honestly, my education came on set, right? There's a lot of times I look back at my 17, 18-year-old self, and I was like, man, like, you know, I was certainly learning at that time, you know? So I went and spent half a year in France, came home at like 19 years old, and just kind of naturally progressed from there.
Yeah, it's tough, man. Like when you go back and you look at yourself, the progression is so crazy, right? Like even if you're an 18-year-old, even if you're a 20-year-old and you're looking at yourself as an 18-year-old, you're like, oh my gosh.
I was just going through some old photos yesterday. So I'm like my time in Los Angeles when I was like 21, 22 years old. And I was like, what was I thinking? What was I wearing? Did like, was there no barbers down there? Like, why didn't I cut my hair? Like, what's going on? Yeah, but such is life, right?
Yeah. What was your mind frame at like 21, 22, 23 at that time when you're like, all right, I'm going to do this? Like, again, you had a couple gigs, you were kind of bored into it. I'm not going to say prodigy, but like you were kind of, that was your streamlined.
It's funny too, because like, you know, people say, oh, he's so talented, she's so talented. And I agree, like talent is a thing that sometimes you're born with, but it's hard work that gets you where you need to be. You know,
it's hard.
You don't just wake up as a talented actor and hop into a TV show or a movie. You know, it's hours and hours and hours and hours of prepping auditions and doing auditions that you never hear anything back on.
The worst.
My thing as an actor, as I've been doing it from such a young age, it hasn't. It's not something that I feel fully defines me. I grew up playing hockey. I grew up playing lacrosse. I grew up coaching lacrosse. I grew up doing all sorts of things. I've got a bunch of different friend groups. So it's not like my pals and I get together and all we talk about is scripts and movies and scenes and stuff. So for me, acting was very important, but it wasn't everything to me, right? I started as a young person. I didn't have to make that adult decision when I was 20, 21. Like, I'm going to leave my small town. I'm going to go to the big city and I'm going to pursue acting. It's just sort of naturally happened for me. And when I started making money at it, that was a bonus. But the thing that really drew me to it was the collaborative effort. Again, I grew up playing hockey and lacrosse. I'm a big team guy. And when you get to set, you know, you realize that it is a team environment. You know your role, you know your lines, you show up, you collaborate, you do your job, and then you go home. You know your role. And you shut your mouth.
Yeah, I mean, but there's a level of improv to that as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like listen, there's a lot of skill and I mean, memorization, personality management, and all this type of stuff. There's millions. The skill sets are so wide and expansive.
Absolutely.
And listen, shout out to your parents. I mean, that's what a great. I mean,
especially being able to say it now, like as a 32-year-old, you know, my mom had the foresight to be like, you know what, if acting works, great. If it doesn't work, like my kids will be able to talk in front of people and they won't be extremely devastated and embarrassed all the time, right? Like, and don't get me wrong, like I still get nervous, you know, and but it's been a skill that's sort of been in me for many, many years. Yeah.
So if that's the skill, where does the talent come in? How do you I
just want to pull the mic like the Joe Rogan. I just want to do the Joe
Rogan
pull. Yeah, I just want to lean back a little bit.
No, you're good.
No, I'm gonna
lean. We get some coffee, some tea. You're good. Like we can pause.
Got so much caffeine coursing through me right now.
Where's the talent come in? Where's the talent? Like you're obviously naturally charismatic, right? How do you see a talented actor? How do you pinpoint a talented actor? Because that's like a famous Will Smith quote, right? Like the definition of skill and the definition of talent are so confused. So where does talent come in acting?
I'll speak on my own behalf, right? Because I can't talk for everybody else. But one thing I will say is when I'm more prepared, I feel more in control, which allows me to be more creative and more loose. And then I'm allowing myself to improvise. When you're sitting there not knowing your lines and you're in the middle of a scene and all you're thinking about is your next line, you're doing your scene partner a disservice, you're doing the director a disservice. So for me, I think talent comes from preparation and hours and hours and hours of work. You know, you throw me into an audition now, and the director will, you know, I'll come in with some ideas how the scene's supposed to be, and the director will be like, okay, that was great, but actually this is what's happening.
This is the real direction that we need to go.
Exactly. And then you have to be able to take the information, take a couple seconds, and regroup. And I think that's something that comes with professionalism and experience is being okay to take a couple seconds. In the room, you know, a lot of actors feel like they got to go in, say the lines, and they got to get out of there. It's like, well, this is your time too. You've prepared for this moment. Take your time. If you need to take a breath for 3 seconds, take a breath. Nothing worse than feeling rushed and leaving the room and being like, what happened in there?
Yeah.
Another thing I think with when you want to pinpoint a talented actor, it's silence. You know, a lot of people feel like as an actor, when you get a line, the line has to all come out at once. They don't look at the punctuation, and you look at some actors and they'll just pause 15, 20 seconds because their character is thinking about what they're saying next, you know? As an actor, you might know what's coming next, but your character still needs to think. And you'll see that a lot with like some of the pros. It's like, you know, that guy's been, or that girl's been silent for 30 seconds because she's thinking about what she wants to say next.
Yeah. That's so powerful. That's like it's maybe the most powerful conversation tool, acting tool, whatever it is. Like the ability to sit in silence.
Yeah, it shows confidence. It shows self-assurance. Even if you don't got it, you know, you got to fake it. Yeah, it's like, wow, he's so confident. Meanwhile, in my head, I'm like, oh my god, what's my line? What's my line? What's my line? No idea. Yeah. Am I sweating? Am I dripping? You know?
Yeah, man. That's and listen, the amount of confidence, the amount of presence, man. Like I've seen a lot of actors, obviously just through film. I've seen a lot of auditions, and I've been exposed to that world a little bit.
Oh, you have? Like, you've been on the other side of auditions?
No, not
that
really.
That is a hell of a thing to watch.
I did for like 3 years, 2 years. I did a bunch of one-liners, a bunch of little principal roles. And
okay,
shit.
so you have an idea. So what's going
I have
on?
a very, very small idea.
Okay.
I have no idea. It was good money. Vancouver's a good spot to get your foot in and all that type of stuff. And it was easy. I played athlete roles and boxing roles, just like stupid little bullshit like that. Gotcha. It was nice, quick little cash. It was good. So like you see that, and you immediately, like for me, like I just love to watch people.
Right.
You immediately see as someone walks in the room.
You feel it.
You're like, oh, okay, this is the right. Like they don't have to say anything, and just the ability to sense energy once it comes in. But then what I've learned a little bit is like if you have an actor or an actress coming in and they give off a certain type of energy, but they're doing that on purpose and they completely turn it around on you just to get the person on the other side of the camera thinking a certain way, just to put them in position, just to knock it out of the park. And completely change it on them. Like there's masters of this thing. Like it's this weird psychological game being played.
Oh, and it's funny you mentioned that because that movie I mentioned right off the top, The Phantoms, that basketball movie. There was a scene in which my co-star, who played my girlfriend in the show, was coming to get me from my house, and I'm sorry, I was coming to get her from her house, and the scene was a little stale. We kept doing it a few times, and the director, Sud Sutherland, was like, it's feeling a little stale, and her and I both agreed, and he went and whispered in her ear, and we did the next take, and then I went up to the front door. And I was like, you got to come back. You got to do this. She's like, I'm not coming back. I'm like, you got to come back. She slams the door on my face, which was not scripted. And the camera's just sitting on my face. And I like have this natural reaction of like what the hell just happened, you know? And he kept it. He took it. We moved on. And that was actually what he ended up using in the movie. So sometimes those little curveballs are exactly what you need because, you can't over rehearse, right? You get an idea as to how the scene's supposed to go. And it's maybe not how it's supposed to go at all.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And so on LetterKenny, like, do they let you? How flexible is that? Like, this is so. Maybe explain the show a little bit for those that don't know. Like, this has been running for season 7.
Yeah, and season 8's about to air in 5 days here.
That's a long time.
Yeah. So the seasons were a little. We do seasons of 14 episodes, but we shoot them in 2 different blocks. So we shoot 7 episodes in August and 7 in November. So they kind of come out in like half seasons. So, it might be actually season 4 or 5 contractually, but as far as what's on line, it's 7 or 8. So it is a lot of seasons. Like that's certainly true, but it hasn't been 8 years necessarily. It's been more 4 or 5 years. But the show is LetterKenny. It's a small town comedy set in a fake town, LetterKenny, Ontario. And it surrounds, and there's a town in Ireland called LetterKenny. Okay. So sometimes I'll go through the hashtag, liking fans posts and stuff, and I'll see some posts from Donegal, Ireland, and I'll show them some love too.
Why not? We'll double tap that
exactly.
Too.
So it revolves around a group of hicks who Jared, the creator and writer, is a part of. And there's the Hicks, the hockey players, the Skids, which is my faction, which is just drug dealing, long black hair, meth,
Hilarious.
Induced. And then there's some Christians. And now we're in season 8 here. We have all sorts of characters from all sorts of walks of life. So we got Cityites, we've got city girls, we've got we got Amish people, and it's a really, really fun show that we're very, very proud of, and we're proud to be Canadian. We don't have to hide our boots and our A's, and we really, really get to lean into it. So when I end up auditioning for something out of America shortly after LetterKenny land, I gotta check myself.
Yeah, for sure. It's and your character is hilarious because it's like it's so not you. Like I'll go on your Insta, I'll go on your IMDb, and I'll be like, oh, this is like little pretty Vancouver boy. This guy's like, all right, okay, I see you. And then I was like, okay, well, where is he? When I went to the show, I was like, where? He must have a really small role. And I'm like, oh, wait, hold on. That's him right there.
He's the guy dancing in circles and
ridiculous,
flailing my long hair.
Ridiculous.
When I got the role, Jared, actually, who writes the show, he's a buddy of mine. We did the Don Cherry story, the miniseries, about 9 years ago. He played adult Don Cherry. I played teenage Don Cherry. Nice. Even though Jared's like 3 years older than me. We had like an age difference of like, I don't know, 10, 15 years in the movie. And he started doing YouTube clips. 1-2 minute clips. I think they did 4 or 5 of them. They got a bunch of views, and then from that point, he's like, I think I got something here. I want to develop it into a TV show, and he told me he wants me to be one of the drug dealing Skids, and I was like, all right, buddy, call me when it happens.
You in that.
I know, right? It was like
crazy.
Everyone who knows me thinks I'm going to be one of the hockey players on the show, but they are rudely awakened when they see what I actually do on the show.
For sure. So so that's really interesting. A YouTube series turns into now a Hulu series, a Crave series. Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah,
that's insane.
I know. It's been an interesting ride to be a part of, and I think Jared was very smart when he did 4 or 5 YouTube clips, and he saw how popular they were getting, and he pulled back from it and didn't do any more, and started developing it into a TV series at that point.
Wow.
So he kind of left people wanting more, and when news of the TV show came out, we got an order of 6 episodes season 1. So it was sort of Bell's way of testing the show, right? It's not a huge financial commitment, 6 episodes. And once we did that and aired on Crave TV, it was quite popular right away. And then we got the 2nd season order, and then we got the 3rd season order, and then Hulu came into play, and it's just like, I don't think I've ever really known of a show doing that. I'm sure it exists. Like, I think Broad City did something similar. They did some YouTube shows or YouTube clips and then became a TV show. I think it's happened a couple times, but the likelihood of it, I think, is rather rare. And, moving forward, it's quite a template for showing networks that you have something that people like, right? You could put it up there for free and get tens of thousands of views or hundreds of thousands of views, and
next thing you know, you got a deal. Yeah, there's I'm a huge Fresh Prince of Bel-Air fan.
Yeah, naturally.
Right, obviously.
Yeah, obviously.
And Kid made the trailer into a dramatic film.
That's right.
Did you see that?
Yeah, I saw that.
And then Will got caught wind of it and was like, all right, let's make the movie.
Is that happening?
Yeah, it's happening.
They're making a Fresh Prince.
Yeah, dramatic, real life dramatic movie.
Is Will going to be in it?
I don't know. But yeah, he just did the trailer. Like, it was like 2 minutes, 3 minutes.
Yeah,
something like
I saw that trailer actually.
Epic.
Wow, I didn't know that was happening.
And so Will did a vlog about it. He's like, yo, this is the creator, and we're gonna make it.
He's all over Instagram and stuff and YouTube right now.
So that's so crazy. So that was one of like the most graceful transitions like I've ever seen ever. Like, classic biggest movie stars ever, ever, and then just completely goes over to the other side. Doesn't do anything.
No.
Did not do anything. No Insta, no YouTube, no nothing.
Yeah.
Right. And then just completely
wakes up one day and
he's like, you know what? This is a good idea.
You know what that shows? The impact of social media and YouTube. If the biggest movie star in the world thinks that he's gonna pave his own lane, and like who else is doing that? Kevin Hart's on there, Jack Black's on there,
Wayne Johnson's on there, all these guys are
exactly.
On there.
So and Zac Efron's doing his YouTube thing. So there's clearly they're there for a reason.
So Tyler, what's going on?
I thought about it, but it's like, and no disrespect to people who do it, but like some of my friends who vlog, the camera's always out and they're always doing that thing, and it's just like, I love watching them. I just don't know if I'm the guy to film them.
I think you're full of shit.
Yeah, well, like maybe it's even hard for me sometimes to like post Instagram. Like I don't know. Like, I'm getting better at it, and I understand the importance of it, and I do love connecting with folks on it. Like, I love responding to comments and stuff as long as it's like nice and not mean. But maybe one day. On this on this tour. We're about to embark on a LetterKenny live tour.
Crazy.
So I think we're all going to kind of have our cameras out and try and document as much as that as we can.
Yeah. So how do you position yourself? Because everyone's from the ground up. Everyone's Everyone's just trying to find a way, make a name, monetize an audience, and whatever. There's that whole wave, which is like serving a purpose in its own sense. But everyone is coming from essentially no exposure, or no nothing, and trying to build from there.
Right.
You know, versus like people like yourselves have a platform, have an audience, and you know, frankly, have a you know, much more kosher way into that. When I'm looking at you, I'm like, well, dude, that could 10x your opportunities just as an actor, right? So as you see this whole, because you've been, you know, from traditional media now into social media, digital media, you've existed, your career has existed over that entire span.
Yeah.
How have you thought about, like, what's your thought train been, you know, from 08, 09 to 2015, 2013, and now today? Like, how is this all going to develop, and how am I going to exist in that ecosystem? You know what I mean?
When you said that, the first thing I thought of was I used to send VHSs to agents and stuff like that. So like I've been doing it for that long, you know. I used to have to set up a VHS camera to tape my auditions, and then we'd literally send
the
tapes to agents. When I got my first agent, we sent a whole bunch of VHS tapes to agents, and they'd watch it, and some would get back to us, some wouldn't get back to us. And now I could set up my iPhone, and I could do an audition right here for you, and I could email it off to freaking wherever, New York, London, Vancouver, Toronto, you name it. So watching it progress like that. Now, you know, we don't use film as often. We use digital cameras, so we can film for hours and hours and hours, which is much more cost effective. I worked on The Killing, which was a TV show that shot with film, and we would set up forever, and then we would rehearse, and we'd rehearse, and we'd rehearse, and then we'd finally shoot, and we'd have maybe 2 takes. And it was a very, very fun, cool, artistic way of shooting, where sometimes on TV shows it's like, let's just shoot the rehearsal, see what happens, and if we get it on the rehearsal, we move on. Where this was, you know, with film you had to take a little bit more time because it's very, very expensive. It was cool. It was a really cinematic show. I was happy to be a part of that one. And then now on LetterKenny, we got a couple cameras. We set it up. We talk shit for a few pages, and then we move on. You know. Yeah. But as far as like progressing in this industry, I've been fortunate to be an actor for, you know, about 15 years now. 15 years, like professionally at least, and I love it. I'm on a dream show right now. I'm working with my friends. I'm representing Canada. I get to live in Vancouver. And I said it over and over again, I don't want to go anywhere else. This is my city. This is where I want to be. You know, look, if LA calls and they want me to come down for a show, or Big Willie's calling and he wants me to be in the new Fresh Prince with him or whatever,
I'm
like
not saying no.
I'm there. But just as far as where I want to like set up shop, Vancouver is my city. And I've recently just purchased the option to the rights of a book entitled The Last Gang in Town, written by Aaron Chapman, who just released another book recently called Vancouver After Dark. Excuse me. He's a Vancouver historian, and he's become a friend of mine, and he's just a wealth of information and knowledge about this city. So moving forward, I'd like to continue with this one project in particular, Last Gang in Town. Me and my friend and business partner Andrew Holmes purchased those rights, and we'd like to make it into a mini series set here in Vancouver, based in the 70s. It's about the Clark Park Gang, which was a group of rough and tough, young men and teenagers who spent time in Clark Park and were wreaking havoc on the neighborhood. And eventually, the VPD had to establish a secret police force to come get these kids out of here. So there's a lot of very cool, juicy stories in this book. It's called Last Gang in Town for anybody who wants to check it out. It was a great book. So moving forward, I'd like to take any of this LetterKenny leverage or energy, momentum, and try and make some stuff here locally with some friends and people I admire and look up to and want to work with. And I want to plant roots here. This is my home.
Most people don't do that, man.
Yeah.
Most people don't do that. There's a lot of stars from this town, and I don't want to say none of them are here, but not a lot of them are here.
I know.
There's a lot of talent that's come from within these little mountain ranges right here.
Yeah.
It's insane.
And some of them like to, some of them come back and wave their flag. Like, Seth Rogen comes back, shoots a lot of his shows here. His production company is called Point Grey. And when you're that big of a star, LA makes sense. You're taking meetings all day and doing that whole thing. And look, the sunshine 24/7, 365
right now.
is not a bad. It's gray and raining, and it's like 2:30 p.m. It's about to be pitch black here in about 6 minutes. I just love the city, man, and I've had the opportunity to travel a lot. I've been to South Africa. I went to Europe a whole bunch of times, and I just love the city, and we got stories to tell. People think that this is just glass buildings and yoga and cyclists that cycle to the beach, but there's a lot going on here.
There's so much going on here, man. I mean, that's honestly, that was one of the bases for this whole podcast. Honestly, it was like, there's a bunch of amazing untold stories. That's what Self-Fire's been doing for years. It's just taking untold stories that have so much depth, and so there's just incredible narratives, and bringing them to the forefront. Because a lot of times, like, there's no, like, if you're, what's the Vancouver platform? What's the radio station? Who are the people? Where do you go?
Yeah.
You're a star from the city. Where do you go? If you're like, I need to go do a promo run in Vancouver, where do you go?
To be honest with you, I've had some moments in the past that I've been a little disheartened with how that goes down.
Right.
I was on a great show for many, many years called Less Than Kind, and it won all sorts of Canadian Screen Awards, and we got a lot of notoriety for that. Not quite the LetterKenny level that's happening right now, of course, but we didn't really promote it out west. It was promoted in Toronto, it was promoted in all those eastern cities, and I just kept saying, like, guys, like, there's a lot of people in Vancouver. Why are we neglecting them? And I think it's changing now. Like the CSAs, the Canadian Screen Awards, are having more events out west now, and they're looking to like just incorporate some more of the Western Canadian culture. And I do think it is moving a little bit. We've always kind of been like the little brother,
Been the little brother.
And truth be told, like, we are far away from some of those other cities. Like, to get to Toronto, it's a 5-hour flight, and any further than that, like, it's hours and hours. Like,
True.
To get to Sudbury, it takes an entire day. But we got a lot to offer here. We've got a lot of great talent, and I do feel it changing.
I hope so, man. I really do hope so. I mean, we're lucky to have exposure to some of the people coming up, which is like, you look at the talent, you're like, okay, no, that's world class. That's world class level, and you don't see that.
I went to a great event last night. Boots for Beers, put on by Matt Brevner, goes by the moniker of Brevner, and he had a bunch of local musicians and artists come through to donate boots and money to the downtown east side. As Joss and I just explained, it's pouring with rain outside, and it's not going to stop for months. So it was cool. He brought a bunch of the Vancouver artists together. There was Junk, who's one of my favorite rappers. Actually,
yeah, we've had him on the show.
Junk was my #1 artist on Spotify last year.
Wow.
Yeah. So like, and I sent him a message.
Can't fake that.
I know, and I sent him a message, and I was like, yeah, I'm not like, I'm a full-on fanboy now, and Boslin was there last night, who just dropped a new album called Black Lotus, which I've had on repeat. Messiah Prophet was there. Corduroy Floyd was there.
Absolutely.
Jade Monet was there. Brevner, of course, was there. So it was a very, very fun night for the city. We raised a bunch of money in boots for the downtown east side.
Super cool, man.
It was a cool vibe. That's why I'm a little groggier than I probably should be this morning. We had a bit of a late night, but we had a lot of fun.
It's all good, man. Now listen, those are some of the best artists coming up in the city.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And they're so, like, you just don't see, I don't know, man. You just don't see one of my qualms is like, Vancouver eats its babies, man.
Yes.
Vancouver eats its babies.
Yeah.
And like, I see this all the time. Like, there's some people in the city that are so fucking proud to be from here. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Because like, dude, look around.
Yeah.
Like I'm from the Gulf Islands, right?
I was about to ask where you were from.
Right. So like, Vancouver to me is New York, right? In a way, right? Because that's the perception I grew up with.
Of course,
right?
yeah.
And then I'm coming here and I'm looking around. I'm like, nobody thinks this is anything. Yeah. Everyone's like, yeah, there's some tall buildings. We have a lot of people here. And it's really nice, whatever. Right. And I'm like looking around. I'm like, are you kidding me?
No, yeah.
Like, you go down to Seattle, you go down to Portland, and these guys are like, oh no, like this is Portland. Let me show. Come here. Come here. Let me show you what Portland's about. I'll take you out these waterfalls with these sand dunes. We'll do all this different type of shit. Yeah. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm so excited to be here, and I love it. Seattle's the same way. Like, for instance, like the Seattle comedy scene, popping, right? And it's like, I see amazing comics here. We've had a bunch of comics on, and I'm like, and I go out to Yuck Yucks, or I go out to the Mix, and I'm like, why is this not fucking packed?
We have an issue here in Vancouver. We don't, like you say, I've never heard that term really, but eats their babies. Is that what you said?
Eats their babies.
Yeah. No, I get it. No, I like it. But we don't create a star system here the same way that Toronto and Montreal creates a star system.
Oh, what's a star system?
Well, just like, it doesn't have to be a star, but we have to big up each other. Right. Like these events last night are great for the community. If we've got local actors looking to make a project, we want to big up the projects. If there's a chef opening a new restaurant, we have to show up to the new restaurant. No one's going to give us anything. We need to show up for each other and big up each other. And I think a star system is just like, like Toronto, with some of the actors in the shows that they have, you'll see the same actors kind of pop up every couple of years on new shows. The same directors pop up every couple of years on their shows. They take care of each other. It's a very, very ultra competitive city, but they they look out for each other, and we do that here on the West Coast a little bit. But sometimes we facilitate other cities and their projects, whether that's LA or Toronto or New York. We're always kind of portraying our city as Seattle. And, I think...
And it gets shot as Seattle all the time.
All the time. Yeah, all the time. But we have a couple shows here that, Motive ran 5-6 years, and it was based here in Vancouver. And let's just continue for it to grow, hopefully.
Yeah, listen, the infrastructure's here. It's here. Like, just, I don't know. I'm a basketball guy, right? And the Grizzlies coming and going was like so indicative of like what I think this
How old were you been, though?
I was a kid, dude. Yeah, I was a baby.
I think we kind of got screwed over with that. Like,
ownership. Yeah, the dollar, all types of different stuff. But I mean, like, it's still, I'm not in the boardrooms and having the business meetings where I'm like, okay, well, does this demographic make sense? Does it make sense to open a branch here? Does it make sense to open a coffee shop here? Does it make sense to open up a production team here? Like, I don't see the numbers, and I'm not looking. I don't know how well our hockey team's doing, like, in terms of actual revenue, right? Like, is this a viable market? Maybe that's the piece that's missing.
I think there's also some archaic business laws that are happening in the city. Like, it's hard.
That talk. Here we go.
Oh God. Well, like, I think it's hard for people to open businesses. It takes a long time. There's lots of red tape. I know a couple of friends of mine who are looking to open a venue. Liquor laws obviously are really stringent here, and it was tough for people to kind of get business off the ground. It's obviously a very expensive city, and again, I think we are moving in the right direction, but we've got a long way to go.
So how you're now well established. And you're in the industry, you've been in the industry for a while, you have some pull. So, and you say you want to exist here and bring shows here and produce shows here. And it sounds like Seth Rogen's a little bit of a model in terms of like, bringing the production team here and being in-house. And, God, he had that one show. He's like ruined a couple of restaurants in town because they're just so packed now.
Oh yeah, that
what was that? It's like a donut. He
was
shop?
Like smoking and eating or whatever he was with that guy. It was that
I forget what it was.
Famous chef guy he was with.
Those things are popping now or whatever, right? But so he's leveraged that. He's super Vancouver. Like, I love seeing him on like GGN on Snoop's little fake news show and shit, just like teaching him how to roll crossbuns and stuff. I was like, that is so cool. That is so Vancouver, and that is so in the world. Like, that's awesome. So what's the direction you want to take with that whole thing? What's your Vancouver flavor? How are you gonna bring it here? Like, how are you thinking about all that stuff? How do you think about Vancouver culture?
It's funny because like I'm one of the only guys from Vancouver on the show. Dylan Playfair lives here. He's from up north, and Andrew Herr lived here for a long time, but he's moving to Toronto. And Michelle Milet, who plays Katie, was originally from Vancouver Island and moved to Toronto. So, so I, they poke fun of me. There's a couple jokes in the new season coming out about Vancouver, and every time one of the characters said it, everyone just turned and looked at me like as though I was supposed to protect the city's honor or something. I just think as far as being this Vancouver energy or whatever, I think it's just being yourself. And like I said, there's more to the city than just biking to the beach. And it's funny because like they'll make fun of me, I'll say something about something. They're like, oh, why don't you go back to Vancouver and bike to the beach and do yoga? And I'm like, well, in fact, I love doing all three of those things. So like your chirp isn't really affecting me right now.
Okay, well, I'll pick up a juice on the way too.
Exactly. I'd love to get on my bicycle right now. There's just more to the city than kind of what meets the eye. We had a whole bunch of history here in the early 1900s, I believe, down in the Gore Gastown area. They used to have nightclubs that were just popping, and it was like rows and rows of them, and there was a big culture back then, like a nightlife culture. And of course, now that area is a little bit different, and Granville Street's going through a bit of a facelift right now too. I'm excited to see what happens there in the next couple of years. It's a little desolate right now, but. Man, I think we just start from the ground up and start building. And I'm on step 2 of about 5,000 with this book that I was telling you about. So maybe you and I could sit back down in a year and I could give you some more updates on that.
A couple steps on the line. I love it. So you're gonna be shooting. You're gonna be shooting out east. What
we start the tour in Moncton. That's the first day. That's the first date.
So okay. So podcasts are doing freaking tours now. Everyone's doing tours now. I mean, maybe because it's the only way you can convert. I mean, I don't know. You're not selling DVDs anymore. So how for someone that don't know, how do you go as a show and just go on tour? Are you doing skits? Are you doing, is it improv? How are you just going to go up on stage, kick the shit, you know, shotgun a couple beers and be Canadian and have Americans laugh at you? I don't know. I don't know.
No, I think that might be it. Yeah. We don't have the script yet, but they did a Canadian-wide tour last year and a half ago, and there was 4 actors and 2 stand-up comedians. So what they did was they set up a stage with the produce stand. They all sat around the produce stand, did some scenes, did some skits, and then a comedian would come on for about a 20-25-minute set, and they'd go back on, do some more scenes, maybe have a little bit of digital content. Then another comedian would come on, and then some more scenes. So now the cast, there's 9 of us going. There was 4 or 5 originally. Now there's 9 of us.
Wow.
We've got a tour bus that will be posted up on for 2 months, and I'm excited, man. Like, I don't have the script yet, but I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Jared, our creator, showrunner, we call him the franchise. He says he wants to blow the roof off this place, right? Because he says, we're doing 41 shows. We're going to 38 cities, and he's like, if we do this right, we might get a chance to do it again. So he's making sure the script is tight. Wow. We're gonna just have a blast. Hopefully the fans have as much, if not more fun than we do. And we are all very, very excited. It's hard. It's kind of hard to like fathom right now, we're rolling into Christmas here, and then January is going to come and go, and then all of a sudden February will be here, and we're flying to Moncton, New Brunswick to do a couple of days of rehearsal, and then hitting the road.
Super crazy. This will be coming out right around that time. And so I think I don't understand how you put that together. Like, I just don't get it.
Shout out Live Nation.
Okay, shout out Live Nation. Shout out Live Nation. Oh, Live Nation, some of the biggest names.
Yeah, you heard of them?
Oh my gosh.
You heard of them?
Yeah, they have a couple big acts.
Yeah, they're doing pretty good. So Live Nation has organized this tour. So they got in touch with LetterKenny on the last Canadian tour. They helped run it. So it's the real deal.
It's legit.
It's the real deal.
It's legit. Yeah. So you guys doing like theaters and stuff, or what?
Yeah, pretty big venues. Some of them I think have 2,000. Some I think have like 3,000.
Damn, how is a little like Canadian redneck show gonna go out there?
We'll see, buddy. Awesome. We'll see. I'm excited for the first time I step on stage. I feel the energy, and like just hope I get my lines out because I haven't been on stage like that in a very, very long time.
Right, so a completely different dynamic.
Completely different dynamic. I can't screw up my lines and just ask for another take. We'll see. Like when they came through Vancouver, they played at the Orpheum, and they brought me on stage at the end of the show, and just hearing the applause, having nothing to do with the show, I just kind of stepped on stage, and the energy was just incredible. We're excited.
Awesome, man. That's awesome. So how do you see this whole? So okay, you went up from YouTube, you came all the way up, Bell signed on, you got Crave, you got Hulu, now you're doing tours with Live Nation. Yeah. So the show is inevitably going to grow. Regardless of that, how do you see the whole content thing playing out? Like, like for instance, you're on a new platform right now. Podcasting is a new thing. All of a sudden, podcasts are doing tours. All of a sudden, podcasts are doing paid promotion and different partnerships, and we're moving in different ways. And the business of it all is so weird. How, as an actor, like, how do you see this entire? I'm just going to call it a content industry now, because that's really what it is. Like, we're competing with Netflix in many ways. It's screen time. We have to pop on your screen. Everyone, it's an equalizer now, really. So how are you thinking about content moving forward 2020?
Something maybe I should think about a little bit more. I'm not really a very curated content kind of guy. I'll think about posting a photo, then I'll think about the caption, and then I'll overthink the caption, and then I'll forget that I was going to post a photo. So I'm not really the content guy. That being said, I think there's a lot of opportunity moving forward to do some cross promotion with brands and stuff that I believe in, and it's something you need to be thoughtful of when you're posting and reposting and retweeting, because once you start getting a certain amount of followers, those things can equate to dollar value, right? And I'm not looking to make money off of reposting friends or people in the community. I'm happy to help even get 2 sets of eyes on a friend of mine who's doing a project of any sort. But as far as brand, you know, crossovers, I think there's some potential there moving forward. And then perhaps I would have to get my content game up a little bit and just try and make it look as natural as possible. Do some of those box openings where I'm like, oh, I haven't even opened the box yet. Crazy. You know, it's like, wow, what'd they get me?
yeah.
But I like to keep in touch, and I've been joking recently. Like, I don't play very much video games, but I'll play a little bit of NHL and I'll play a little bit of Call of Duty, you know. And I always joke. I was like, maybe I should Twitch. Maybe I should Twitch.
You should Twitch, man.
I don't know. Like, I have to watch what I say, and like I just curse at myself, and it's just like so self-deprecating. I'm like, you idiot. Yeah. It's pretty cool the way that things are moving. Like, you can make money just talking into your phone nowadays, right? Like posting and turn into a little Kardashian.
A lot of people are little mini Kardashians for sure. I mean, it's like, I don't know, man. Like, are you worried that your lack of
direction?
Like, direction or content. I wasn't gonna say direction. That's like a little
point. Are you feeling lost, Tyler? Are you lost?
Let's talk about your emotions. Like, is your self-confidence wavering? No, like, are you worried that you're like so many stars or people that are not even stars are honing in on audiences, becoming micro influencers, or just very carefully curating content, or curating their online presence, or curating series around them, or curating podcast appearances?
See, it's that word you keep using.
Curating.
How do you find it? Because you're a guy who's quite prominent on the internet and the social webs and the social medias and stuff.
I think screw it, man.
How do you feel though? Do you feel like it ever wears you down?
100%.
Yeah. That's 100%. What I don't want. I don't want that burnout, you know. And I feel like I have to talk to the camera. I feel like I have to post, because that would get very exhausting.
Yeah, dude. I like, if I'm inspired, like, I'm a goof. I like to be a goof, and if I feel like being a goof, I'm gonna go be a goof.
Yeah, word.
You know, and like, but most of my life is like, it's very professional and whatnot. Like, and I need to exist in many different realms.
Right.
And in a social space, you need to craft one personality. Well, reality is. Well,
so you're saying your presence online might not be exactly who Joss is sitting here with me?
Listen, man, that's some crazy verbatim.
Yeah.
Not endorsing that, but no, I mean, if you go out and you show, I know, 100 different sides of you, like Self-Hire's gone through this. A lot of companies that we know have gone through this, of like, okay, well, are you a juice company? Are you a snack company? Are you an apparel company? Like, you know, it's just like, well, as a person, what type of person are you? What type of person do you portray?
Right.
For me, like, I'm 100 different people. Sorry, dude.
Yeah,
like, I love a bunch of different shit.
Yeah.
And like, I'm also, like you mentioned earlier, like, your identity is not an actor.
Right.
Like, my identity is not my profession. My identity is not a podcaster. Like, I like this.
Yeah.
You know, I like being, you know, 100 different ways. I'm just playing. I'm just playing. And if social media or any type of content platform or public facing thing becomes a space where it's not play, I'm out, man.
Well, you see a lot of those guys getting burnt out, like PewDiePie, who's like, I think the biggest YouTuber on the platform. He's taking a break because he's like, I'm just tired of making content. I'm tired of feeling like the pressure to put out content. And he's probably got millions upon millions on the bank, so he could take a step back. Yeah, he could take a couple steps back, and he'd be just fine.
Yep.
It is interesting. Like, I got friends of mine who are very, very active online, and they kill it. They crush it. You know. I don't know. I just don't put myself out there too much, I think.
I'm also cool with not being out there. Like, I don't care. And I don't think you care either, man. Like, it's just like, you're like, I'm good.
I use it for promotion purposes. I like to connect. Like, those artists that I mentioned who were at that show last night, I've been able to connect with them through social media.
Which is awesome.
You and I were able to connect through social media. Like, there's a lot of positives. I went down to a Seahawks game a month and a half ago, because I met a man named Chase Decker, and he works for the team. We connected through social media, and me and my dad and my buddy came through and went to a Seahawks game and had a couple beers with him, and like, it's cool for that kind of a thing, for sure. But
and yeah, I mean, and then the promotion things again. What's her name? Liz something. Do you know what I'm talking about? Huge YouTube star. No, Liz. Oh my gosh. Doesn't matter.
We can cut this out.
Yeah. Anyways, there's a woman named Liz. She's an amazing YouTube star or whatever, and now she's hopping on all these, like, Will's vlog or this guy's vlog or his vlog, and now she's landing content series and actual, like, she's landing gigs. They're creating roles around her and around her personality
for her to come in and speak.
For her to come in, like, whether it's you know, there's whether, you know, like, for instance, Sean Evans' First We Feast Hot Ones, right?
Love that show.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
Sean is.
Do you think you could hack
best.
it? You think you could do it?
The Hot Ones?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I think that's fire in a bottle.
I don't
right
think
there.
I could do it. Yeah, I could
know.
probably get to like the 6th wing, maybe. And
I
it's
don't
like, turn
know,
off the
dude.
cameras, turn off the cameras.
I don't know. I would be outrageous. I would be outrageous.
Yeah.
I wouldn't hold back at all. And like I'm I ain't no quitter, boy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'd go all the way through, and I would be the most atrocious person ever. But like he is now a personality. They crafted him and built him into something, into that right now, and that's what Hollywood quote unquote's been, right? You get crafted through these roles and your personality. You know, he's good for this and he's good for that, or this is her role. This is very, very good, and like. You know, so you've kind of created a little Canadian content lane for yourself in a way like, oh, that's a really good Canadian star right there. You know, versus going the other way and reverse engineering and like essentially you bringing yourself to the forefront, like this lady Liz, who I cannot freaking remember her last name, you know, building her own personality and then having the networks come to her and be like, you're awesome. Let's whatever you are, there's a target demo around it. We're going to build something around you and leverage your audience and pay you a shit ton for it, right? Which is the direct opposite of where I think you've kind of gone, where you've just like, oh no, I'm on these shows and they like I'm good. You know, would you have any desire if you weren't producing it to like if you went through, branded yourself personally a little bit more, and then went out and pitched those types of things to networks or whatever, like not you producing the show, but saying, hey, here's my personality, here's what I bring to the table, here's my fan base, can we make something around it? Something you thought of?
So bringing my personal brand and pitching myself to networks.
Yourself, your tribe, your community, and what you bring, right?
Yeah. And I think that's part of the package too with me getting the option to the rights to that book is I went into that pitch meeting and I sat down with the author and I was like, I love this city. I love your stories. I love your mind. I want to tell this story. Went into the publishing, which is Arsenal Pulp. They've got a bunch of local great books. Check them out. And I just went in. I was like, I love this city. I want to hire Canadian actors, Canadian producers, Canadian directors.
Wow.
If we can, I'd love to hire Vancouver actors, Vancouver directors, and really make it a homegrown product. We're putting together a lookbook right now, and we're thinking of different actors just to put into place, not necessarily to reach out to, just to show that we have a community here that we can build off of. And there's some writers that we've reached out to, some directors that we've reached out to that are very, very interested in telling Vancouver stories as well. It's just a matter of where we're going to land with all those folks. So that is part of the package, right? It's like I have this love for the city and my friends and my peers have this love for the city. So that is what we're kind of pitching. And when we go to Bell Media or when we go to CBC or whoever it is that we decide to pitch, that'll be part of it.
Super cool.
Yeah.
Super cool. And that's an angle that hasn't really...
No, I think there's so much to be told. Like, and I actually make a habit of picking up local books too, because, you know, when I got the option to the rights of that book, I didn't think about it. I just went, grabbed the book, enjoyed the book, sat down with my buddy, told him about it. And he's like, well, let's talk more. And that became an idea that turned into the actual signing of the paper. And
cool.
So, you know, things start with an idea and I have a passion for the city. So it just kind of came naturally.
That's interesting. So you have an actor mind, you have a business mind as well. And they both interact. The
success of LetterKenny has allowed me to think differently because up until LetterKenny, I've been fine. I'm doing fine. But LetterKenny now has provided a little bit of security that I don't need to be constantly in the hamster wheel of auditioning and going from job to job, looking for the next job, looking for the next paycheck. I could actually take a little step back and be like, what do I want to do? What would I want to produce? And so it's actually allowed me to put like a different hat on and think business wise as well. Because it's easy to get stuck in the struggle and the hustle and like you're constantly going and like you take a vacation, you get an email, they're like, I know you're on vacation, but can you get us this audition by, you know, tomorrow? And it's like, well, I'm on the beach, like,
no,
but also
yes.
I need a job, like, you know. So the success of LetterKenny has allowed me to kind of just change my my brain a little bit.
Not working from a desperate place,
exactly.
Right? You're a little bit working from a place of abundance. I mean, I think people need to come to a realization that you have the divine decision-making capabilities. Like, it's you.
Yes.
You can pivot however you want.
Yes.
You can take whatever show you want or not take whatever show you want. You can it is 100. Like, we get stuck in this microcosm of like reacting, which is what I think a lot of actors are in, right?
Yeah,
I mean, and I don't know.
Take what you can get.
Take what you can get.
It's like, well, is it going to make you happy?
Yeah. Well, also, I was like, well, the world is abundant, man. The world is abundant. There's a lot. There's a lot. And like, it might not seem there's a lot in your little microcosm, but there's a lot. So if you just take those blinders off for 1 second and have an opportunity that allows you to take those blinders off for a second. Oh shit, look around. There's 100 million things I could do. This is pretty cool. This is fun. Today, now, I kind of want to just touch on, as we wrap up a little bit, I want to figure out how you're thinking about this now, like as an actor, as a career, as a profession. Like, how are you approaching pitching shows or auditions? Like, what's the state of mind you're going into these things with, versus maybe 10, 15 years ago?
Yeah, I do approach it a little differently. Now I definitely look at the project, or I look at the audition, and I'm like, what kind of show is this? What am I bringing to the room? Because like you say, there's different styles and there's an abundance of shows, right? Like, I'm not going to bring my LetterKenny performance into an audition for The Good Doctor, right? Yeah. So you kind of get a better grasp on what you need to bring into auditions. I think I bring a confidence that comes with obviously the success of LetterKenny, but also with maturity. Like, I go into the rooms now as like an assured 32-year-old man, opposed to a 21-year-old insecure, please like me, please love me, please hire me mentality, right? Please
pay me.
Where now it's like, hey, I respect what you bring to the table. Hopefully you respect what I bring to the table. Let's have a little collaborative situation in this audition. Right. If it works, great. If it doesn't work, cool. Best of luck. I'll see you on the next one.
Super cool.
Yeah.
Super
I don't get it twisted. Like, I still get nervous. Like, I had a call back 2-3 months ago with a writer that I knew. We'd worked together a few times prior. I felt good about it, and I think the audition went well. They went a different way, but I remember being in it and just being like sitting here, just like sweating. There was like 6 people in there, and I feel the sweat coming down my face. And I was like, there's a Kleenex box on the table. I'm like, do I take 3 steps and wipe my face down? And I did one of these, like, oh yeah, I'm totally listening. Like, like just like the old
holy
quick,
shit.
Yeah, I am literally sweating. So I still do get nervous, but I'm more sure of myself.
Yeah, more confident.
More confident. Yeah. Here's a little side note. I'm youthful looking dude, right? I'm 32, but I look maybe 20 or 19 or whatever the hell you want to say. When I auditioned for that Don Cherry story, it would have been a bunch of years ago. I was probably 24, 25. And I went in, the director, Jeff, he goes, hey, Tyler, that was a great audition. I want to know, what hand do you shoot? Hockey. Okay. I was like, yeah, I'm right-handed. He goes, oh, Don Cherry was left-handed. I'm like, shh, did I say right-handed? I'm definitely left-handed, And he goes, ha ha ha. I leave the room, and the casting director told me later that Jeff turned to her, and Jeff goes, that is the most confident 15-year-old I've ever met. Yeah. I'm 23, 25, 24 years old, He's like, that's the most confident 15-year-old I've ever met. And I was like, well, thank you.
Hey man, fake it till you make it, right?
It's what it's all about. Yeah. And when you can you lie in that like joking gray area. But he called me a couple days later. He goes, hey, I know you said you could play left-handed. I've had actors say that they could play the opposite hand. I need to know, can you do it? I was like, Jeff, I grew up playing lacrosse. I scored more goals left-handed than some of my left-handed teammates. He goes, that's exactly what I needed to hear. And I hung up the phone, had a minor panic attack. And then I hit the rink, and I was shooting roller hockey and ice hockey. I was shooting left-handed from that moment on until we shot the movie. Yeah. And now I'm back to right-handed because I couldn't lift the puck left-handed.
Listen, let me tell you. Yeah. Let me tell you a story about...
I was just so cocky. And that's what he needed in that moment, He needed an actor to tell him that he was going to do it, even if I didn't believe it. I had to tell him that's what was going to go down.
I love it, man. Yeah. It's indicative of a lot of situations in life, man. Yes. 100%. There's if we get a call from the Yankees and like, do you have an office in New York? Yeah, you're damn right. We have an office in New York, and we're going to hang up that call, pick up 100 other phones, and go get an office in New York. You know what I'm saying?
You read Shoe Dog?
No. Oh yeah,
by Phil Knight.
Phil Knight. Yeah,
he had a situation where I think he was in Japan, and they're like, "Do you have an East Coast office?" He's like, "Yeah, absolutely. We got an East Coast office." He's like, "I left the meeting. I called my business partner, and he's like, we need an office on the East Coast.
Buy a fucking storage unit.
Exactly.
Okay? Do whatever you
just get a PO box or whatever. Exactly. We need an address. So we all do it. If it worked for Phil Knight, it could work for us. That was a great book. I really enjoyed that read.
It's awesome. It's one that's on my shelf for sure. Tyler, if there's one core message, one core narrative of your life or your career thus far, what do you think it is?
One message for my career?
Or from your
Well,
personal life.
okay. Well, I say career-wise, just stay persistent, stay working hard, keep your head high. Like in this industry, you're going to get a lot of rejection. And at some point, you just have to, and I know it's way easier said than done, but you just forget about it. You walk out of the room, you let the audition go, and you focus on the next one. Find things in your life that make you happy other than this industry, because if you're chasing happiness in this industry, you're going to be lost before you get started.
Yeah.
As far as like moving forward, I just, like you and I are talking about, like support your community, because we've got a lot to offer here. And if we just support one another, we can just make the city what we know it is. We just got to show the world.
Beautiful, man. We'll end it there. Thank you so much, Tyler.
Thank you, brother.
Cheers.